You're a messenger during the Napoleonic Wars. Moment 1. The sealed paper. The morning begins with wax, not blood. That is how these things hide themselves at first. You stand in a farmhouse taken for headquarters, breathing air that smells of damp wool, horse sweat, and a stew someone burned hours ago. Your gloves are still on even though the room is warm. You tell yourself it is because of the cold outside. It is really because your fingers tremble when officers look at you. A colonel does not bother with your name. He presses a folded dispatch into your hand, then another, one sealed in red, one in black. Different routes, different urgency. You read neither, but you feel the heavier one, as if paper could weigh like iron. Men around the table speak in half-sentences over maps, stained by grease and melted snow. They speak of distance the way priests speak of sin, as if naming it changes nothing. You tell yourself you are fortunate. A messenger rides past danger. He does not stay in it. He arrives, hands over the order, leaves before the guns begin. That is the lie that lets you tighten your belt and ask for oats for your horse, with a voice that almost sounds casual. Before you leave, you delay 1 minute too long near the hearth, warming your face, letting the red seal soften slightly in your palm. A captain notices. Not the delay. The way you look at the packet as if it contains your own future. Outside, your horse blows steam into the pale morning. In the yard, a drummer boy no older than 13 is chewing leather because he has nothing else in his mouth. You avert your eyes and mount up anyway. Moment 2. The road that keeps shortening. The first pressure is not battle, it is repetition. Every village looks half-emptied before you reach it. Doors open, doors hanging, dogs too thin to bark, smoke from chimneys without the comfort of food behind it. You ride through sleet that needles your cheeks raw, telling yourself the weather is the true enemy because weather does not accuse you. At the first checkpoint, the sentry breaks the seal with gloved fingers and reads the outer authorization twice before letting you pass. He looks at your horse longer than he looks at you. Good horse, thin rider. That alone marks the state of things. Armies fail in inventories before they fail in battles. You deliver the black-sealed dispatch to a general whose boots are white with frozen mud. He does not thank you. He reads, folds it once, and orders a column to move before dawn. Men who are waiting to sleep begin cursing under their breath. One of them spits near your stirrup, not at you, near you, close enough. You decide not to mention the second dispatch yet. The red-sealed one is for another command post farther east, and the road ahead is already bad. Dusk is near. Wolves have been seen. Cossack patrols too. You tell yourself that one night's delay may save the horse and save the message both. Better to arrive alive at first light than dead in a ditch with perfect punctuality. That is the first real mistake. Not because it is dramatic, because it is reasonable. You sleep in a stable with your boots on. Straw pricks through your coat. Your horse shifts all night, hungry and irritated. In the dark, a wounded infantryman mutters for his wife in a voice too old to sound like hope. You pretend not to hear him. By morning, he has stopped. Moment 3. You are not just riding. You are visible. The next day, the road no longer belongs to France. You feel it before you see it. Too much silence between tree lines, too many broken wheels abandoned with their axles removed. Too many campfires stamped out in a hurry. Your throat dries each time your horse stumbles, because a fallen horse makes noise, and noise is invitation. At noon, you are stopped by men from your own side, who do not recognize your unit markings. They are hungry enough to be suspicious. One points at your satchel and asks who you truly serve. His beard is iced white at the edges. His musket shakes not from fear, but weakness, which is worse. You answer too quickly. Prepared lies always sound prepared. You hear it as soon as the words leave your mouth. Now they know you are practiced. Now you look like a spy even before they search you. They find the red-sealed dispatch. The officer among them studies the date and curses. It should have arrived last night. Whatever movement it contains is already late. Men are already marching or failing to march based on absence. That is the moment the road changes meaning. You are no longer carrying orders through a war. You are carrying proof that the war is beginning to outrun its own command. He lets you go because he needs the message delivered more than he needs you punished, but not before slapping your satchel back against your chest, hard enough to knock the breath from you. When you ride on, the leather strap rubs your shoulder raw. The skin burns through the day. You keep telling yourself delay is not defeat. Delay is not betrayal. Delay is not the same as killing. But by evening you pass a regiment turning the wrong direction, and one officer shouts at another that Paris will never know how men vanish out here. Your wife's face comes to you then for no noble reason at all. Not from love, from shame. You realize if you survive this, you will spend years making ordinary explanations in an ordinary room, and none of them will make sense. Moment 4. This is the part where history enters the body. You reach the next headquarters and find no headquarters. Only wagons half-loaded, a surgeon vomiting behind a barn, 2 clerks feeding papers into a fire because paper weighs something and wagons cannot carry everything. A riderless horse stands near the well with reins frozen stiff. Nobody claims it. The red dispatch is opened at last by a major whose left ear is blackened with frostbite. He reads it, then laughs once. Not because it is funny, because the order assumes roads, units and timings that no longer exist. Reinforce, consolidate, hold. The verbs belong to a world already gone. Still, he writes a reply. That is the cruelty of administration. Even when reality has collapsed, procedure continues with neat handwriting. You are ordered onward again, this time toward the river crossings, where the army is compressing into itself like a body, trying to survive by sacrificing its fingers. You want to say the horse cannot do it. You want to say you have not eaten since yesterday, except for 2 mouthfuls of frozen biscuit you sucked soft like medicine. Instead, you nod. Obedience is lighter than refusal in rooms like this. By night, your lips have cracked enough to taste blood whenever you lick them. Your left foot has gone numb inside the boot. You call it numbness. You do not call it the beginning of loss. Then the first real pursuit comes, not a grand cavalry charge, just movement at the edge of the trees. 3 riders, then 5. Then the instinctive knowledge that men behind you are riding with purpose. You do not gallop at first, because galloping makes the danger real. Then a shot cracks past your shoulder, and your horse surges beneath you so hard your teeth slam together. The satchel beats against your ribs like another heart. Moment 5. The River of Men. By the time you reach the Berezina approaches, the army is no longer an army so much as a direction. Carts jammed axle to axle. Women clinging to bundles, officers screaming at men too exhausted to hear rank in anyone's voice. Fires built from furniture, icons, doors, anything that once belonged to a home. The smell is smoke, manure, wet wool, gangrene, and panic stripped of all ceremony. You are told to find an engineer officer with the Emperor's route instructions. Told, as if locating one man in this human wreckage is an errand. You try anyway. That is what ruins people fastest here. They continue to try in the same shape as before. The bridge timbers groan under artillery, wagons, cavalry, the wounded, the healthy, the condemned, all pressed together by cold and fear. A mother slaps her child just to stop him from crying loud enough to attract the attention of men who are no longer men when supply runs out. You still have your satchel. You still have the instinct to protect paper. That becomes your final miscalculation. When the crush tightens near the bridge approach and people begin falling under the wheels, you hesitate instead of cutting the strap loose. For one absurd second you think the dispatches still matter more than movement, more than breath, more than a body remaining upright. Someone slams into your back, your horse rears, you hit the mud on one knee, then both hands. The taste of filth and blood fills your mouth. Boots step on your coat. A wheel misses your skull by inches. When you finally cut the satchel free, your knife hand is shaking so badly you nearly slice your own wrist. Historical collapse. The crossing does not fail all at once. It fails the way great systems always fail, locally, repeatedly, and too late for the people inside them. One bridge catches the impossible strain, another clogs with wagons that cannot turn back. Orders are shouted, repeated, contradicted, lost. Cannon are abandoned. Horses plunge through broken edges into black water. Men who have marched across half of Europe disappear 10 feet from safety because the bank is too steep and their boots too heavy. You make it across without the satchel, without your horse, without feeling in 2 toes. On the far side, soldiers are burning what remains behind them to slow the Russians. The flames rise orange against the white day. People still stranded on the other bank beat at the air with their arms as if outrage can build a bridge. No one asks what messages you carried. No one asks what was delayed. The machine has become simpler than that now. Cross or do not cross. Burn or be burned with it. That is the clean part. Existential epilogue. Later, when there is no longer an emperor in your immediate field of vision and no road demanding your next mile, the punishment changes shape. Your left foot never fully wakes. In winter, it aches before dawn with a private, stubborn pain. You learn to sit with one boot half loosened under the table, hiding the stiffness with small adjustments. No one is meant to notice. When someone hands you a folded letter, your thumb goes first to the seal without permission, testing the wax, measuring urgency, as if paper can still kill on contact. You marry survival badly. You keep your boots by the door for years. You wake at noises that are too soft to matter. You chew too fast. You finish meals like theft. When your child asks what you did in the wars, you say, "I wrote messages." You make it sound clerical, dry, almost harmless. But sometimes your wife catches you staring at the window when snow begins to fall, and her voice changes before her words do. That is how love lives beside damage, by learning the weather of another person before speaking into it. History does not remain on the bridge, or in the dispatch, or in the emperor's failed maps. It settles into your hands. You are an old man before you stop checking, unconsciously, whether anything important is still hanging from your shoulder.